Alright. Hello, hello, hello. And welcome to basically shop conflict behind the scenes to show you some little tricks I like to do to skip a lot of work as a beginner animator with not a lot of time on his hands. Alright. I called it Nuggets versus Default before I made the Bacon Battle name official. So if you haven't watched the Bacon Battle videos, which I'll probably show on the screen right now as a little animation. It's basically like a little story that I'm creating about one bacon that's being like beaten up by all these different people. It'll increase if you want it to increase more. Just leave your username in the comments on Roblox, and I'll decide to animate you in the 4th installment of Bacon Battle. Of course, I'm going to probably overwork myself on accident because a lot of people to animate, and I'm trying to animate faces at the same time, and I gotta work on camera angles, and everybody has to get at least a reasonable amount of screen time. And with all that in consideration, I'm trying to make this, the best I can. Alright, so we're gonna start off with, let's just turn off the camera for now. Let's start off with Default's animation. So at the start, you can see that he walks forward. Like that. Camera. So it starts from his feet, but as you can see, something's clearly off about his feet. And, just for the demonstration of this animation, I'm going to delete all of these keyframes after copying them. Boink. Delete. So you can see the animation process. So what I like to do is this little trick. It's called make a whole bunch of frames. Yes, animation gets really messy, but this is after I clicked M, by the way. There's this feature on Moon Animator where if you click M, it splits your frames to make the animation smoother. Now what I like to do is I like to do the opposite of that. See, I set these all these frames for some of the characters, except for the torso. Well, actually no, I set all these first to linear. Then, I do my animation, I smooth it out, and then I go over all of it, I press M. And then, only for the torso, I put linear, but for every other bodily movement, you can see right here, the style is none. Therefore, it creates this cool little glitchy effect. I know I said this was like a cheat, but no, I'm gonna be honest, this takes a lot more effort, unless I'm doing something like in my new animation, which I'm gonna make a teaser for soon, not gonna name drop it now. But you can see the glitchy type animation that everybody likes to go for nowadays is right here. You can see the torso is moving smoothly, but the character isn't, which makes it give this little cool smooth effect. I feel like I should have used the glitchy effect for right here. Okay, just look what I'm talking about. So like, yeah, when he's sliding forward, it should be like none for that one. And then for this animation, we got Bacon. Now for Bacon's animation, it's basically the same thing, except some parts you can tell Nuggets is animated on a different scale. And yes, this is my old this is my current Roblox avatar because I don't have any money. So this is linear animation. He looks at default basically like, oh no, it's that same guy I knew from before. And now this is the fun part. This was very fun to animate. Nuggets looks at default, and there's this whole scene where he does like that weird like glitchy animation effect, but it's very smooth. So let me show you again. I just used the same method. It's the same method, except it's a little different this time. I just give it 3 frames at a time. Which means I basically copied and pasted these frames, and I changed how it looked every, I think, about 5 or so frames. That's how I did it, at least. And then he looks forward a little bit more. So yeah, that's part of it. That's part of that animation. Another character that I recently animated is Kendall's Ray. Now, uh, evidently, I feel me and Kendall have had quite a bad history at the start. My first ever impression of him was him trying to convince me to get a counterfeit version of Moon Animator 2, because as you know, I bought the full version. And the first thing I heard from this guy right here, let me get his avatar on the screen. Hi there. Look at him, he's waving hi. Yep, that's Kendall's Ray. He's actually pretty cool, not gonna lie. Apparently he voice acts, so in one of my later animations you'll hear him voice acting. I'll probably give him his own little special episode, considering he's the first ever person to ever contribute to my animation. He gave me his avatar and now he's offering to voice act, so, I gladly will accept. And, as a fellow voice actor and now, animator, I am here to support him along the way. Just look at that. Just look at that. Look at this little fur ball. Look at that. Oh my gosh. I can't lie. Okay, so if you want to go for that cute little animation effect, especially when you see it on, Pandamian's videos, I'll probably show one across the screen again. I don't know if it's copyright or not, but whatever. But yeah, he always goes for this little bouncy effect, and I've always been like, wow, I want to get that bouncy effect. Turns out, that comes from a little thing called elastic. The elastic animation style makes it so it basically bends in between frames. So this is what we get from that. A little bouncy animation where it stops. It has to be in and out, by the way. So it stops, bounces, and you can see it goes back a little bit. Yeah, it makes it kind of shaky too, which honestly gives it a little cool effect. And then when he's running away, turn around. Ah, ah. Now, one thing you will not see on screen that I will show you. So there was this problem before where you could see his torso right here, he was just in the door. What part of the animation is that? Right here. Bro was just in the door, and I stopped him here. So when I recorded the animation, I saw, in that one shot where Nuggets kicked default to the wall. I'll show that part on screen too. Bro was just standing right there. So in the animation, I decided, you know what? It would be cool if I just slid him all the way out. Right here. In this random spot. Oh yeah, and then one piece of animation you don't get to see on screen is default leaping forward. Now I thought about it, but I wanted to shine the camera light on Kendall. But here you can see default's distraction, reaction, and then he leaps forward at supersonic speeds. And then slow motion leap, and then Nuggets notices once he runs away. And then fight time. Okay, now guys, here's where I have to say, oh my goody goodness. Animating a double kick flip back, double backflip kick flip, or whatever you call it, it's so difficult. Look at this. So he blocks that, and then I had to smoothly transition it into that hit. Then he had to bounce on the floor so I could set up the one on the part on the roof. So he bounces off the floor, jumps up, I catch him. This was so hard to animate on too. Look at him. So we pause in the air for a bit to give it that little creation. He falls early. I push him down.
FBI, open up.
Oh man, I'm making a video, dude. So yeah, so I push him, I push him down, and basically my whole character is animated on 3s. So I kind of cheated here a little bit. But not really, because like I said, that just means extra details. So for this part though, this is a really cool detail that I found out in my own animation. Since it's animated on 3s, there's a few parts where I cheat the animation. So right here, there's instantaneous movement from here to here. Right there. And you can see that in my frames. So there's a bunch of frames that I animated for this one. So it does that. He goes immediately forward. So that's a skip. That's one skip. Then he goes down. That's not a skip. Goes down. He turns around. This is a skip. So it goes from this to that immediately. Instantaneous movement sometimes makes it snappy, but this actually turned out pretty well. And then we have the elastic one for his walk out the store. Now this one looks very janky, and I will want to like remake this at some point. But since it's elastic, it kind of drags his body out. Therefore, like it makes a weird glitch effect right here, where he's just in the wall. That was my bad. And then for defaults animation, it also uses elastic. So when he looks at Nuggets running away, puts his hand on the ground like that, which makes it smooth. He gets up, and then he starts thinking about a way to get back at the Nuggets. Look at this. This is what I made right here. And that's basically the thumbnail for the video too, if you haven't seen. So yeah, that's all the work that goes into this one animation that's literally only 42 minutes long. Well, no, not even 42 minutes, 42 seconds. 42 seconds long. And the next one has to be 2 minutes long, and I accidentally deleted some of the animation for that one, so I have to remake some of it. But it's honestly gonna look really good. Probably gonna make a teaser for it soon. So yeah, Nuggets out. That's basically it for the behind the scenes. See ya.